So if there are any deliberations by which we can, through the control of our mind, whatever we do is the mind's doing. So if something is done like that, it is spontaneous according to that. It is spontaneous. So let somebody else do it. I mean, it's something divine is doing it to you. Let's have all the intellectuals down there. What do you answer to that? Did you hear that, Linda? The question is very simple. The question is this, that they were saying that the mind is limited. All right? Hello. Is Maria here? I was thinking of her. Where is she? I don't see her. Hello. I was thinking of you today somehow to meet. There you go. I'm very happy you could come. Yes. Good. Now the question is this, a simple question, that they are saying that through our mind, whatever we do, or through the control of our mind, whatever we do is done by a limited energy of mind. All right? Now this limited energy of mind is doing something which cannot take you to unlimited. So something has to happen to us which is beyond the control of the mind. That's the only thing that is spontaneous. Now see the confusion. Now on mental level you can answer that. Let's see. Come along, Don. Who is that? Yes?
You could say it has to be something spontaneous happens to you, which increases your awareness, whereas these people were degrading themselves.
No, you see, but the proof of the awareness is not there. All right? So then say, how do you say you have a greater awareness? Because that is subjective. So they may come out. You see, they are very clever. So now, another answer, yeah?
It's another perception.
Huh? The same thing, you are saying the same thing. That the perception, you say you have a different perception, but how are they to believe? So you see, on mental level, on discussion only, what can you say about Sahaja Yoga? That's it. Very good question. Put your mind on. Very simple answer.
Vibratory awareness.
Huh?
Vibratory awareness.
No, but that's it. You say you have vibratory awareness, but who believes you? You may say anything, but who will? Now come along, the computer. It is very simple. You see, just go in a very simple way. Then you will see the point. May.
There's no effort involved. Results.
Huh?
The results.
Results. That's too far-fetched. Just on discussion point, what should we say? Say that's too far-fetched. You see the results, I can feel your kundalini, I can see this, that. That's after.
Could you say that you should be able to think if you want to?
Huh?
Could you say that you should be able to still use the mind if you want to?
We should be?
We should be able to still use the mind if we want to, not to chuck away the mind altogether. So we're saying to go out of your
But
mind.
they can say we are using the mind. You see, those who want to cheat you will say that. They can cheat. If they want to cheat you, they'll say, yes, we are using the mind, we are in perfect bliss and happiness. We have vibrations. What can you say? If you say your Muladhara is catching, they'll say your this chakra is catching. How can you quarrel with these people? On mental level, not on any substantial, what you call, these proofs to be given.
Well, do they say the mind can see itself up?
Huh?
Do they say the mind can see itself up, can be its own witness?
No, they say that mind is limited.
So it's not its own witness.
So you have to give up your mind. Somebody else should work it out, the divine. And you see, when they jump or they do anything, it's the divine that is making them jump. Or shout or growl. So simple.
When the divine is working it out through them, the divine should be able to solve their problems and give them...
That's too far-fetched, Chaya. That's too far-fetched. They will not believe that your problems are solved. Only just on discussion point. What is the basic difference between divine and human?
How can discuss them about it if it is...
Huh?
How can discuss about it if it is really the mind which is limited? So how can they discuss it with them?
You can tell them something, even on the limited level. You can have the divine and limited stuff. Here sitting someone. You can. You can. Now, should I tell you? All you given up? Let's have the last word.
You have to give the answer.
Huh?
You have to.
I,
happened before, actually.
huh?
Something happened today on the telephone, which is, it's been in my experience, it's happened before. Is that if you're talking to somebody on the telephone and you're sort of discussing with your wife the idea is a good idea, this lady, for instance, was catching very, very badly on the whole left. In fact, my hand was shaking. And just for my own comfort, I started putting abandon on it, because I thought my hand had gone shaking. And she said, "What are you doing to me?" I know this lady here. What are you doing? What are you doing? I was putting abandon on because my hand was shaking. But you say what's happening to you? You suddenly started feeling the same about it.
But Linda, for this also they have to believe in you. Might be your hand is shaking because you are getting some booth, your own booth working.
Yes.
You see, you have to understand that at what level they are talking. You see, they are doubting you as you are doubting them. The very simple answer is that what you can do with your mind, you can always do. Alright? When you get to that position also, you shout, howl, the same way you can do it. But you cannot make the Kundalini pulsate. Whatever you can do with your mind and without your mind, it's just the same. Because you can howl, you can shout, you can jump, you can do everything that you are doing under the same circumstances. So the one who is doing is not divine, but some human being or some human agency. But the divine, if it has to do something extraordinary which human beings cannot do. To pulsate the Kundalini is only possible for the divine. It's a living force. Man-made things are dead and they can do dead actions. But a living force cannot be activated. Kundalini cannot be seen pulsating by jumping ground. That cannot be done by mind. You see? Whatever you can do with human mind, with your human mind, that can be done always. What is there to need to go to these gurus? You can always howl and shout and do all these things. But you cannot make the Kundalini pulsate. Divine does something which you cannot do. You cannot make cool breeze flow from your hand. So, if you go beyond mind, it has to be something extraordinary. It should be something different than the limited and unlimited are two different dimensions. This is the secret of your mother's Maya also. This is the secret of your mother's Maya. That I live on limited plane and do unlimited things. That's how I create Maya. You see, you can only know me through knowing your vibratory awareness. By shaking on my head, nobody can make you shake if you put the hand on the head of someone. So the divine force is a thing which human beings cannot do through their mind. You cannot pulsate the Kundalini. It's a living force. Human beings cannot create life, cannot generate life. They cannot generate life. They cannot make the Kundalini pulsate. They cannot make the pulsation come down here. They cannot raise the pulsation going up. With the stethoscope you can feel it. They cannot make the pupils dilate. You see my point? Because they cannot feel the vibration. So we cannot talk of a vibratory thing, but you can see with naked eye. They cannot make the cool breeze come out of your head. They can feel the thing coming out of our head. This is extraordinary. See my point now? Clear cut? So the limited, whatever I can do with the limited instrument myself, I can also do unlimited. That's the sign of Divine Mother. It's a tremendous thing. You understand? In the same way, you are limited now, but you have jumped into the unlimited. So the things you can do, that's why you are saints. You are saints. The things you can do on the unlimited, you could not have done it before realization. You start doing something that you could not have done before, is to raise the Kundalini of the people. They can howl, shout, do all these things, but they cannot raise the Kundalini of the people. All other things you can say is arbitrary, subjective. You are saying this happens, you got cured, it's your mental attitude and all that. But on this point, can I have? Dawn, I wrote a letter for you. I have not brought it. You have to come to my house. Yes. How do you do? Come here. Yes, yes. Hello. Yes, come now. Yes. Now, it's a photograph. Thank you. That's a good one. No. All right? I know that. I know that first. And there's another one there. Should we have some questions before we start? Suddenly silence.
That Matthias wanted to ask you about the powers, curing powers coming from the supraconscious.
What is it?
The curing powers coming from the supraconscious, because there are many people who are curing other people with supraconscious forces. And what is the difference between this curing power and the curing power of the Kundalini?
You see, there could be two types of curing people. One could be those who get the power of the collective subconscious, and those who get from the collective supraconscious. Both can cure, partly, depending on where is the problem. For example, a person has a left side problem, then a collective subconscious fellow can cure left side. And if there is a conscious person, he can cure more physical side, see, because he is on the supraconscious. Now what do they do? See, now for example, take us the question of collective subconscious people. Those who indulge into going into, say, we have two types of people in India called as mantrikas and tantrikas. So the mantrikas are the people who go to the funeral pyres and also go to the cemeteries, and they try to capture the spirits. You see. These are dead spirits and the sly type of dead spirits. You see. They catch them. Now these sly spirits are interested in doing some sort of a, you see, they are the so-called social workers sometimes, you see. Busybodies, you see, trying to help others. Some people might have collected, say, 100 pounds only and wanting to collect 200 more, something like that type. It's in the category of this Chaturvarna, they are the Shudras, they call it, the people who believe in serving others and sort of doing something in the service of others. Such people. They appear to be good people because they want to serve others, you see, and they want to help others, and that's why they don't want to die their real death. You see. They want to stick on around, and they are busybody to serve, you see, each other. So there might be, say, a servant class, we can call it. These are the servant class people. They are all the time the first thing to, they are the first to serve, you see. Of course, none of us are like that, so no question, nothing to bother. They are different types. They are the people who survive, absolutely survive. They like to be whipped, they like to be beaten up, they like to be ill-treated, that type of people. Absolutely another extreme, horrid type of existence they like to have. You know that kind, in the psychology it is described. All such people are around. So they get hold of these people, they are very timid, afraid all the time, nudging, you see, left-sided. So they get hold of such people and tell them, do this work, do that work. You have to control this, you have to go there. And these people feel very happy about it. See? So if there is somebody suffering, say, from a mental trouble, say, due to, say, somebody has been to a death, somebody's death or something, he gets a mental pushback into the collective subconscious. So these people can be cured if you go to one of these mantrikas, that they just tell that, all right, now you have been there for such a long time, troubling this man, you get out from there. You get out from there, and when they say so, you get out from there. They say that we'll put somebody else in your place and we'll give you another place to go. See? Sort of an rapport is established. They are the mediators, you see, liaison officers. And they create this kind of an office by which they catch hold of these people and put them into somebody else. A very good example of this is a lady whose husband used to drink a lot. So she went to one of the ladies of this kind. So she said, all right, I'll manage this man and he won't drink. So you have to give me 100 rupees for that. She paid 100 rupees. So she put one booth in this man, removed this man who was drinking. You see, there must be a drunkard in him. So this fellow started, you see, gave up drinking, but he started going to races. So she removed that booth and she put another one who started going to dirty women. And then, you see, this lady got frightened. You see, she said, what are you doing? Every time I'm paying you 100 rupees and 100 rupees. You see, she had paid her a lot of money. And suddenly she found that this fellow is doing all the three things together. So she went to fight with this woman, you see. She said, how dare you do these things to my husband? And this lady put a boot in her. Since then, that woman is still mad, and I have not been able to cure her. So you can imagine how dangerous it is. Go to these people for getting. Still, when she sees me, she goes on like this, and quite funny. You remember one lady who came to the same one? This is the case. She's a very good-looking woman, married to a very rich man who owns a factory. And this is the life both of them are leading, burning the candle on both the ends. So this is one thing. This is one of the cases. The second case is of the supraconscious fellow. Now you go to a supraconscious fellow, like this doctor, who was that late doctor? Huh? Lamb. Late Dr. Lamb's Curative Center, you see. International Curative. International Bhutsi. Yes, really. Curative Center. And you had to write to them that I am suffering from this disease. Whatever disease you have. One lady was suffering from her uterus trouble. So all the great doctors, you see, all the great lawyers, all the great scientists, and all the great engineers and architects and all these great supraconscious people, very ambitious, Hitler and all such great warriors, all such people gather on the right-hand side. So he being a doctor, he met all his friends there. He met his friends, and then by that, what happened that he could talk to them, now let's start a clinic, because these doctors would not die. They have been experimenting with this and experimenting with that. So they started this late Dr. Lamb's clinic. Right? And for that, they, I don't know if you know the whole story, but if you read Gregor's books, it might be there, I think, that this Dr. Lamb lived in London, who died and who had a son. Now this Dr. Lamb, when he died, his booth attacked a man in Vietnam, where he was fighting. And an ordinary soldier who had never known what his education is. See? And he told him that I am Dr. Lamb, I am from such and such place. You better go to my son and tell him that you want to start this thing. He did not attack his son because he knew his son won't be able to bear him. Because he wanted a very healthy, sturdy man. You see. And this gentleman then went to the son and told him that your father is within me and he's talking like this. He said, I can't believe it. He said, all right. Then he went into trance, he started talking. He said, see, we have got these things in the secret pocket. You go and see there's money kept for you. And we talked like this secretly and this was this. And then the son had to believe, you see. Then he believed him and he started this clinic for him. So he gave all the money and everything for the clinic. And all the booth doctors, international, were helping this particular doctor to act anywhere they wanted. So the intercommunication was established on that level, on the collective supraconscious. Now they would say that, all right, a lady was suffering, say, there was a lady who was suffering from high blood pressure and kidney and also some uterus trouble. So she went to them and she said that, all right, I'm suffering from such and such disease. So they said, all right, you write a letter to our center in London. She wrote a letter here. So they sent back a letter that on such and such date, exactly, see, living forces do not act like that. They don't give you a date or thing. On such and such date, at this time, will appear within you and cure you. And this lady at that time, you lie down in your bed, and suddenly she got this into her. You see, so one of the doctors must have entered it. And she got cured of it. Absolutely cured. For a year or so, she was all right. Then she started feeling very dizzy. She started feeling very dizzy and all sorts of coming up. When she came to me, she was in a tattered condition, absolutely finished. She was like this. So she knew that a spirit had come in her. But now she said there are at least 10 or 11 of them within me, and I can't bear it. This kind of curing also can take place from the supraconscious. See, supposing there's an architect. If he goes to one of such people, he can get an architect who's dead upon himself, and he can start doing this. Now this man, who was a ripper and all that, was possessed by some ripper who died or something like that, whose ambitions he is sharing. You see, you have to have inclination for that, no doubt. You have to have that weakness within you, otherwise it won't work out. But if you have that weakness, and if you are very weak, otherwise also from mind, then these things catch hold of it. If it has something to do with physical side, the supraconscious can help you. If it has to do something on the, say, on the mental side, then the subconscious people can help you. But they help you very temporarily, and then they come back with a big force on you. It is like that. But Sahaja Yoga makes you so powerful and so pure that impurities just go out. It's a cleansing force. It's a very different thing, where you neither put any bhut into somebody, or your intention is not to cure, but as a byproduct, people get cured. Now, tremendous things are happening. Like, I met a lady and her husband in Australia, very dynamic journalist, and the lady was the president of the Journalist Association. You know her? Journalist Association of Australia. She could not have had a baby. Doctors had said she can never have a baby. She's very short, extremely fat, all that problem was there. Still they were carrying on. I mean, husband wanted the baby very much. And now she conceived after surgery. After so many years. 14, 15 years of marriage, now she's conceived. So the entire, her ideas about life are changed. You know, she used to indulge into so many things, and she went to gurus, this, that, she did everything. Then she was a Catholic to begin with, then she became something else. Everything she has done. She overcome all that when she comes to surgery. And here she finds this answer, physically. So I've not put any bhut in her. I made all the bhuts get out of her, you see. And she said that now we are going to take up a project, which I had told them, that you have to expose the people. Just even if you write what these people are doing, you will be able to show that this is madness, this is real madness. And once you have talked about it, then you prepare a base for Sahaja Yoga. And then you should say, this is the reality. That makes you sane, powerful, and loving. Then only people are going to see to this. So this is a very good thing, that Sahaja Yoga creates miracles, really creates miracles. You have seen on material level, on mental level, on emotional level, and ultimately on the spiritual level. You are all endowed with such powers. Even if, you are doing anything wrong or anything, you are a realized soul. If you want to give realization, you can. For example, if this lamp is enlightened, it may not be good, it might be unclean, it may not be very good to burn. But once it is burnt, it can enlighten another light. Like that, your spirit is pure. Now, but one has to know that we have to fight all these evil spirits. On the unlimited, I am working hard, very hard. That's how they are exposed. But on the limited, you must work hard to fight them. You should be prepared to fight them. You should prepare yourself to fight them. You have to fight these evil forces. Because they are the ones who are ruining your own beings around. So you have to fight. There will be big depression coming on. People will just obstruct it. They will trouble you like anything. But you have to fight these, and for that you should be equal. That's so strange that the great people, the children of God, the men of God are born more in the West than in the East. Most of us. I think they were rewarded by God to come to a country which has more affluence, did not have so much poverty and the troubles. And these are the people who are lost. And which the reason, one of them, which I discovered only yesterday, that the modern concept of life is to make something that can be demolished easily. And this is what one should know, that our foundations had been made very weak by satanic force. Our foundations are very weak. We have been given all these ideas for days in and day out. The satanic forces have built it up since long. Since long these ideas have been built up. On all the Western front, if you see the kings how they were, the queens how they were, the way the people lived and the kind of life they led, and if you read the French, this thing, I mean, sometimes you read other kings of Spain and Portugal, you are amazed. I mean, the kind of life they led was so horrifyingly funny. Even you can see the Catholic churches, the so-called very religious people, the way the Pope lived, and all that's so horrifying sometimes. One doesn't know what is right and what is wrong. So your foundations were laid like that, wrongly. They are shaken up. You have to rebuild your foundations. So the foundations on which you stand, you change them completely. You have new foundations of dharmic life. Absolutely you have to accept dharmic life in your life. That's the way only your foundations can be. In India the foundations are good, especially in Maharashtra. Very good foundations they have. But yearning, aspiring is not. Like an aeroplane. One aeroplane which is got nicely built, but it is so nicely built that it can never fly. The another one is so built that it wants to fly. As soon as it takes off, everything goes idhar and idhar. So one must realize, see, that our foundations were laid down like that by the satanic force. It's much deeper than what you understand. You have to fight those foundations. They'll say, oh, what? He was like this, he was like that. Oh, what? They are not your ideals. One should know. They are not your ideals, these horrible kings who killed 7 wives and things like that. They are not your ideals. Your ideals are yourself. You have to build new ideals in the Western countries. Then only you can change it, because you are such a dynamic force. Every one of you have to come up to build yourself into ideals and try to lead a life of that ideal within you. You have to sacrifice. The greatest thing that you have to sacrifice is your ego, which makes you so obstinate and hard-hearted. Face yourself up. This ideal has to be created. There is someone sitting before you, if you want to accept, which is a very difficult life besides. That one has to have compassion. One has to have love, understanding. Never talk ill about each other. Never. Try to help each other. We are very few. We cannot afford to fight among ourselves. We are very few people and wedded to a very great cause. So we cannot afford to fight. We cannot have wrong ideas. We cannot waste our time on mundane things, even like marriage. If marriage has to be, it has to be compatible, good. Try to build up your things. Must try to patch up things. You have to make it a beautiful thing. Do not indulge onto small nonsensical things which are petty, useless. Otherwise, we cannot do it. You see, we have to still go a long way in life. Very long way we have to go. It's a long, long way. These satanic forces are very nicely built up in these areas. See, they didn't bother about India because India is a poor country. Poverty teaches one thing, is to have proper foundations. That's the blessing of poverty. That once you give up even these foundations, then nothing is with us. At least try to have some foundations. But the very poor are just the same as the very rich. But the very rich are not your ideals, not at all. Not the very poor, but you are your own ideals. You have to create new ideals. You are the new presidents of America and prime ministers of England. You are the one who are great people. You have to stand up to it. People of character, of integrity, of hard work, proper understanding. Otherwise, you have to come up. It's easy to study something, pass MA or MHD or anything like that. But to become an ideal, you have to mature. You have to tell yourself that I have to come up. I have to do this. Which is not difficult now, because you have the source under your command. Everything is possible. Just ask for it and you'll have it. But build it up. Even now, if you cannot build up your own personality and the new ideals, when will you do? When I am here with all the chakras intact? Easy to justify yourself. There is no justification needed for anything. This is wrong, that is wrong, all finished. You have to become that. So one is that you change your foundations. Despite all these, we have people like William Blake, Shakespeare, Tennyson, great people. Tremendous people. Mozart, this, that, lots of people in this country also. Taking their names itself liberates vibrations. In those conditions, single-handed, they created their own ideals. Just think of them, how they must have fought this horrible. It is only today that we accept him. Who accepts these people? Jung. Who accepts him? Only 12 Jungians, horrible Jungians these are. Every one of you is capable of doing that. Every one of you has to become a leader. In Poland, an ordinary, what you call a factory worker, did that. He was an ordinary factory worker. But he was not a realized soul. He could not communicate with God. He had no way of knowing the absolute. So channelize yourself properly, cleanse yourself properly, and dedicate. For dedication, you don't have to do anything. I do not want anything for dedication, except give up your egos and superegos, that's all. These loads you must take it. Just create a little space there, which is the heart actually. Little space, it will work. And that is, one has to understand now, when you see these films and things, thank God I did not see. Is it easy to kill these Rakshasas, it's easy to do all this, but what about these lost souls? Everything works out very well. Say about a year or so, or 2 years. After that I'm going to blast them. Before that, you should be ready. Because once I blast them, they'll come back on you people. So you should be such strong people that you are not finished by that. You see, blasting is so easy for them. For me, it's the easiest thing to blast all of them, finish them off. But once they go to the subconscious area, they'll attack you again. So I want them to live with paralysis, with diabetes, with all sorts of things. But they'll live, they will not die. It's a tremendous task. And I'm working 24 hours, 24 hours. I have no sleep, nothing, you know that. It's all just a life that is so enjoying and itself. The whole vision I can see clearly of those beautiful days when we all will be enjoying each other and the bliss of God together. That's only I want. That we have to pull out so many human beings from the clutches of the evil forces for which we have to dedicate. Our attention is too much on useless things, materialistic things. There's no end to it. Be satisfied with less. There is no end to it. You will be looked after also materially. There won't be much problem. But don't run after too many of this. Just don't have interest in this. What is so? It's all trash. But you should be loving and affectionate. See, once you start giving up these things, what you become? You become like hard-hearted person. I have no interest in anything. Who has interest in such a stone? Good. You're feeling? Full breeze? With the hand? She's just in meditation.
Nice. She says her hands feel nice, Mother.
Nice. She's in meditation.
Sometimes at home, Mother, she sits in front of your photograph and she won't speak to anybody afterwards. She just wander around and she'll play with her toys, but she doesn't want to speak to people. She just goes very quiet.
Let them grow up. But you are the foundations. Now they will talk of you as the foundation, not of these horrible people who have been. They will talk of you, or such and such person was the Sahajogi, the first Sahajogi. Where is that? The first one. He's not there, missing all the time. Will you come in? Come here in front. That is how they have to talk. They have to be ideals of love and affection and not of domination and nonsense. All of you. You will be the first surgeons. You are the one who are going to change the complete concept of life. New ideas have to be established. I don't know if you people really are aware of your responsibilities. Sometimes you are only worried about where am I catching, what is happening to me, what is this. So self-centered. Or you are worried about others. He should not have done this, he should not have done this, he should have not sat next to mother, should have done this. Nobody should think that they love me more than anybody else. Nobody should think like that. Some people know more rituals, some know more protocol, doesn't matter, but I know who loves me. The one who loves others loves me the most. I don't care you have protocols and ritualist things. Nonsense for me. What does it matter to me? The one who loves others is the one who really loves me. Take it from me. I've had all these rituals and all that and I have no care for this. Makes no difference. Whether you say good morning to me or good evening to me is not important. What you say to your brothers and sisters is the most important. Sahaja will never work out if you do not look after that side. How you behave towards your wife, towards your husband, towards your brothers and sisters. That is the most important thing. Anybody who tries to please such things will get out of Sahaja Yoga. You know that I've thrown out very so-called important people out of Sahaja Yoga. Or they did like this to dominate others by saying this is not good, you should not put your hand there, you put your feet there, or do this and that. Who can know the protocol of Divine Mother? You cannot bind me into protocols. You cannot bind me to anything. I am unlimited. I am detached. You cannot bind me to anything. To think that you can have me attracted towards you by your protocols, which is dead, has no meaning. It has to be a living protocol of being kind and generous, being beautiful. Some are lethargic. Say a husband wants the wife to work all the time. The wife wants the husband to work every time. Everybody finding faults with each other. They are not Sahajogis. Sahajogis are the people who take it Sahaja. If somebody is not working, that person will go down, just like this. I'll put that person out of Sahaja. But why? Why did you come to Sahaja? You are seekers. You have been seeking for ages now. You have been built up from ages. Now, are you going to waste your life In any case, you have to sleep and rest. Silence can be from other agencies. That's not the way. If you lose vibrations, finish. That's no. All right, now, do you follow my point? I'll send you. I've got a letter for this special email. I think such a letter must be used universal for everyone. They are around. Left side. Okay, they are around giving ideas. Don't listen to these ideas. You must have your own ideas. Don't listen to the ideas which are coming from the left side. You have to develop yourself. I can't, I go on thinking, there's chick going on in my head. How dare? And it's chick goes on. Better going for 11 treatment. Deep shoes. Everything. Get out of it. Those who are right side, better go on with a nice 108 beating. To one side. Get in the center. Cleanse yourself. If you really love yourself, you cleanse yourself. Be in the center. Never be proud of your ego. Never be proud. Oh, I think it's correct. Yes, I feel. Meet yourself 108 times. You see, you can be very high-handed under the circumstances. You can be absolutely without any embarrassment of what you are doing. You can be absolutely shameless. You can be. But you are a surgeon. How can that be? You should feel embarrassed about things. There should be little sankocha, I think. You call it formality, but I will not call it formal. Sankocha is the thing. How to do this? Why to hurt anyone? There should be some reservations about it. How can you say such a thing to someone? It will hurt. One of the victims of this is David Baxter. He was hurt so much that his agya bloated more and more, because if your agya is hurt, your agya just bloats out. You don't know what to do. So many are like that, I know. That somebody tries to show off their big gurus. I try to push down others. Oh, I know Sahaj Yoga. I'm a great Sahaj Yoga. This thing. And then I will make a come out like that. But that comes out from here. You see in the mirror, you can see your ego jetting out from here. Just feel it, all of you. It's there. Push it down. This nonsense. This is the sticking point, you know. Though the balloon goes thin, there's sticking on here. There's a sticker. Sit down. Here it goes. This is of Buddha. Buddha. Buddha is the one who is realized. Buddha, the one who is enlightened one. You are the enlightened one. How can you have an ego? You are Buddha, the one who is who knows. You are Buddha, you are enlightened. Put your hand over here. Ego is the greatest enemy. I have seen people who suffer from superego. If you take it out, it goes to the ego. If the greatest enemy you have is superego. When there is no ego. But if there is ego, then whatever you may try with superego, it will come back to ego. So for us, in the West, we have the greatest problem is of ego. Whatever appeals to ego, we run to that. That's how these people are made mad. They say, oh, you can fly, gone. Somebody will say that you will become very powerful, gone. Somebody said that you will become a great guru, finished. When you become the spirit, you become one with the whole. Nobody says that. That's Jewish. And Australia too. But Australia definitely is doing much better. They have a little, no, I don't know why. No, it's coming in there. Better? When I say you are realized, you are great, you are saying, one more blow into the balloon. You see, if I say you have to create your ideas, one more blow, the balloon blows are blowing up. When I say that, I say it to create that awareness within is you, that you are here for the torches. You are the torches. But the torches are to be egoless. Because your ideals have been all full of ego. You see anybody, say Churchill, standing there with a stick in his hand. Same thing. Nothing but complete body looks like an ego. Anyone. These ideals have to go away. We have to form new ideals. He was all right for war. We needed him for war. To meet another ego was Hitler. So it was all right to break their heads together. But now we need new ideas. That time is over now. See, when there is flood, you need boats to carry you across, all right? But after reaching the shores, you don't carry the boats with you, do you? You leave them behind, but we do. These boats are no good for us, now we've done the job. Now we have to go ahead with our own feet. All right? So no bloating of the ego should be there. And with that, one would realize that we should not think that in any way we are exceptional. No one should think that you are exceptional. If you start thinking that, only you are blowing up your ego. So mother, you are not. You have to be ideal. You have to be in the center. You have to be a Sahajogi. That's the most important thing is. Do not judge yourself by what you think of yourself, but what your mother thinks of you. How much joy you are giving to your mother. If you make her unhappy, then what's the use? Now don't go into what a game, eh? Immediately, there's a pocket here. The whole balloon goes down there, settles down. Again, as soon as I sit down, whoop, it comes. Now you must have noticed that there are very few really seekers in this world, who are true seekers. And those who are seekers must realize also that seekers cannot be happy with anything else but their spirit. This is the test of a seeker. And a non-seeker can never understand a seeker. And it is very difficult to live with a man or a woman who is not a seeker. Because you catch all the bad points and you suffer. The person has an ego, you feel the thing here. The person doesn't feel anything. He is hurting. He is very nicely off. He has his ego intact and he is torturing you as well. But a person who is a seeker is a better person because you can give realization to that person. And then your vibratory awareness can be shared. Nobody will mind anything. But somebody who is not at all a seeker could be a very difficult situation. You cannot make a fruit into a flower, and the flower becomes a fruit. Now you are changed, so you have become the fruit. But you must have a flower around. If you have a flower, you can make it into a fruit. But if it's a leaf, No idea like my mother, my brother, my father, my husband, my wife, and this and that. Those who are already entangled with such problems should learn to not to get more problems. Those who are not flowers should be avoided, forgotten, and lost. Don't do anything about it. Just don't worry. The more you try to improve them, the worse you'll become. They can never improve. I give you a big rope to see. If they are not seekers, they will never be a seeker. You cannot inject seeking into them. They may come some material well-being, this, that, but they can never become seekers, and you forget it. You may have to suffer because of that. Because if they are catching, you have to suffer. If they have an Navi chakra, you have to suffer. No doubt. But you have committed a mistake and forget it. It can never improve. The person is very difficult to become a seeker. Do not waste your energy. Christ has said, don't throw your pearls. You cannot force anybody to be a seeker. You cannot force. But there are millions and millions of seekers in this world. So forget about all such relationships and say that you are finished. They may call you mad, they may call you crazy, they may call you anything. They will realize only one thing, that you lead a much better life than they do. You are much more peaceful, blissful, and dharmic, and sane. But they won't accept your life. Forget it. Just play around with them, understanding that they cannot change. Even if they change mentally, they cannot have that urge to be seeking. Because for a seeker, nothing matters. Nothing is important. Nothing gives them joy. Even a little child like that. It's gone off. They're so relaxed. So, any more questions? Watch me here. Kuli and Mia should come and see me tomorrow. Before going to the program. Coming to the program. You come here, come there, I want to talk to you.
What about the people who are good? What about the people who are good people, down people, not seekers, who got realization, but don't see now the big
vision? They'll go out of circulation. They have to come in Sahaja Yoga. They'll go out of circulation. Absolutely. You see, the thing is, Sahaja Yoga doesn't accept. It rejects more than accepts. It's a judgment going on. Such people will go out of realization. They have to work it out. You may talk to them because they are realized. You can give them bandhan, you can work on them. They are the people in whom you could be interested. But they are lost otherwise. I had given a very good example of this was that they make butter out of the butter, what you call that? We call it curd, yogurt. They churn it. When they churn it, what happens? Some butter comes out. The rest remains as buttermilk. How do they do it? To separate it from that, they put a big lump of butter in that. Then they churn it. Now the whole butter gets around that big lump. And it gathers into a big lump, you see. But there are some particles which are left behind. They are butter. They are not buttermilk. If they do not stick to this big thing, they are thrown away with the buttermilk. So those who do not come up to Sahaja Yoga, who are not up to the mark, will be all thrown out. No doubt. That's the fact. You have to come up to the mark. And you should not worry about those. You should have nirapekshita. You should have no attachment for such people. No chana for me? Give me some water. That's good to eat away some fruits, you see.
Robert, Marcus has made a very beautiful Indian sweet, but that
Huh?
won't work out. Marcus has made a very beautiful Indian sweet.
I don't eat any sweets these days, you see. Going into a kind of a penance for some time. No sweets for me. You can all have it. I'd like you to see that. A little penance is needed sometimes for me also.
Would you like a cup of tea, Mother?
Yes, without milk. With lemon. Have you got?
Mother, I've got some chana upstairs. Shall I go and bring it for you?
Huh?
I've got some chana upstairs.
All right, bring it. Chana, I don't know. Let her sleep. What was happening? Just,
She was uncomfortable.
just put her on something comfortable.
No, she's okay. She just feels a little bit restless. When you're 3, it's a strain to be quiet, Mother.
Uh-huh. Now, who are the Exeter people who have come?
Peter and Jean, Mother, from Tara.
Who? Raise your hand.
Peter and Jean.
Oh, I see. Good. Nice to see you here.
Mother, Peter had some trouble with his back since he got realization.
Yes. Come along here. Will you be able to sit on this one?
Why do we feel cool breeze, not the warm breeze?
Because the all-pervading power is felt like that. When your spirit is enlightened, it's existing everywhere. But you never feel it before you start feeling it when your spirit is awakened. The hot breeze.
They say they associate warmth.
Huh?
You see, when you talk about warmth, you talk about love.
Warmth.
The warm feeling is a feeling of love.
You see, we never say that it is nice to be boiling, but we always say it's nice to be cooling. All cancer patients give heat. Whenever one is diseased, it gives heat. You see, another extreme could be this, can say that freezing, you see, maybe. That but we say, wash me and I shall be whiter than snow. We never say that you burn me and I shall be brighter than charcoal. But we were surprised. It is very temperate. I mean, it's not a thing that it's freezingly cold. If it is freezingly cold, that means left side. If you get very cold, you see, I mean, it can never be. Cool breeze is actually never very cold. It's not freezing. It could be hot with some people, it could be very cool because of their problems. But if you are a normal person, you feel a cooler sensation. Even here, how much ice people consume, just think of that. On the rocks. They are always on the rocks. The amount of ice cream they consume, the amount of ices they consume, in this cold country, and in most of the even your prime minister, they was to eat rhubarb ice. On an icy cold day. I mean, you use much more cooling than we use. And even usages, like say somebody is very much in a heat and is getting angry, they say cool down, cool down. But if somebody is supposing it's lethargic, you don't say boil up. You said awaken, be active, but you never say boil up. It is slightly less than your body temperature. It's not so very cooling as to freeze you. If it is hot, then something wrong with you. I mean, the question why is such that even if they were hot, they would have said, why what hot? But it is cool, it's cool. There's no why about God. Good. Very bad Sadhisthana. Left one, it goes to the left. That's the worst part. Because they don't believe in giving us any peaceful time. If there is an earthquake, they'll write it first page. If there is somebody a ripper, you'll find 5 columns of articles written on this horrible ripper. Is he your idea? And about Soj Yoga, they are not willing to write even one sentence. Now he is the ideal of the people. So shameful, I tell you, the whole thing is. I feel like vomiting. What depravity. Another one I have brought to show you, which some of you should try to answer. Where is that? Did you bring one? John? I mean, I can't even discuss it. The brain trust should see it. Where the mind of the people is going, where they are attracted. What did you bring? Oh God. I wanted the magazine. Where's Telegraph magazine is there? Sunday Telegraph. All right. Ravin, you can get it. Some of you should get it. There's something one should see. Horrible. They have tried to describe the prostitutes of Bombay. Are you finished with yours? In a very horrid way. Absolutely nude they have shown these women. In India, pornography is not allowed. So this is a way of having a pornography. It's very, very subtle. And that is a place where people just don't go. I mean, that road nobody would go through. It's regarded as an inauspicious place. If somebody has to go from there, they'll come and have a bath. Only the sailors go there. Mostly. Now, where is your attention is the point, you know. Very horrible pictures. You go to Nepal. I mean, we never saw anything there. Till Gregor told me that this is all here. I said, really, where is it? He said, on top. I said, where? He said, where these Japanese has gone up with 3 ladders, you see, hanging in the air, projecting zoom lenses. This is just to support their weaknesses, perhaps. Come in, come. Come forward. You can move some of you this side, I think. There's a lot of room. On this side. I think you all can, Graham and all that, you can come this side. Okay. And Malcolm, you can come. Phil, I think, have I any place where I can talk to people a little bit in privacy? Huh? All right, so I'll go upstairs.
Is that all right for you? What if we were to go upstairs? Would that not be easier?
Huh?
Wouldn't it be easier if we went upstairs?
No.
Because
Why
it's
not?
not to do with
You know, now I bought a house which is 5-story.
That was the problem. That was what we were all worried about.
No, it's all right.
Why don't we go upstairs?
No, I'm all right.
Linda, go inside the room.
Where's Puli got? Just call him here.
It's just busy at the moment.
Huh?
There's someone at the door.
Let him come. Somebody else could be busy. People think we can be on our own, you see. We start thinking like that. We can start working it out on our own, you see. That's why if you write about chakras, be very careful. Nothing can be worked on your own. Our relationship is with Mother, direct.
And this is for the Sahaj Yogis. This is not for normal people.
It is for Sahaj Yogis?
Yes, it's for information to further your knowledge of Sahaj Yoga, so to know a little bit more about yourself.
No, then I would suggest that if it is the information from Sahaj Yogis, first thing I should say this, that what information they need is that they cannot work it on their own. Mother only loves those who love each other. Everybody who thinks I can work it on my own, I have a special relationship with Mother, should know that they are going out. This sentence you put first. Then I don't mind writing about introduction.
Oh, yes.
Because they will know all about chakras and still not be in there. Better now. That is our passage. It said that एक ही अक्षर प्रेम का बड़े सो पंडित हुआ. Akshara. Akshara means actually word in normal way. But what is akshara? I mean the one that never is never destroyed, which never diminishes. So only one word of love. The one who can read that word becomes the pandita, the way becomes the vidvana. All the rest of knowledge is useless. You can only love people who are related to you by material life and not the others. That's wrong. Sahajogis are your real relations. Better now. Try to produce children. That's why I said that don't look after others' children, because all your desire to be parents will be finished with that, and you'll have an exchange. See? You better get selfish on that point and produce children, for heaven's sake. All marriages have turned out to be wastage for me. With understanding. Otherwise you will get thugs in as your children. With understanding, with love, with aspiration that the blessings of God has to come. Otherwise what marriages? Oh God. Better now. As it is, your foundations are weak. And such great people want to get their birth on this earth. And you are so adamant. Poor things.
also Patrick from Birmingham, who's a newcomer.
Oh,
Patrick.
I could see that. But he'll be all right. He's a seeker. He's all right. You got the cool breeze? Are you feeling the cool breeze, Patrick? Not yet? We should be here. Anybody curious, we should be here. Just put your hand. Douglas, will you please try?